A new asset class has emerged over the last decade. Some call it a currency, others call it a commodity. But what exactly is Bitcoin and how much will it be worth in 10 years? We'll answer that and more in this video. So stick around until the end to find out how much Bitcoin could be worth after 10 years. Hey guys, welcome to our channel where we explain the topics of the day in less than 3 minutes. Let's get right into today's video. So what exactly is Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is a digital or virtual currency created in 2009 by an unknown person or persons using the alias Satoshi Nakamoto. It has been described as a decentralized digital currency without a central bank or single administrator that can be used for any purpose. Bitcoins are generated by a process called mining. When people use their computers to generate Bitcoins, they are doing a very complicated math equation. They're competing against other people doing the same thing, and whoever completes the equation gets rewarded with Bitcoins. In addition, all transactions are broadcast to the network and are publicly visible. If you want to learn more about how it works, check out our detailed video on it. But why is it valuable? The value of Bitcoin, like any other asset, is determined by supply and demand. The total supply of Bitcoin will never exceed 21 million coins, and approximately 80% of those have already been mined. The price of Bitcoin has also gone up due to several high-profile investors buying it. Companies like Tesla, MicroStrategy, and more recently, Square have added Bitcoin to their balance sheets. What are some use cases for Bitcoin? Well, in its simplest form, it's just a digital file stored in a digital wallet. People buy it for various reasons. Some see it as a store of value similar to gold. Others view it as a high-risk investment that could potentially make them a lot of money. Finally, it can be used to buy goods and services, although this is becoming less common as most merchants no longer accept it as payment. What are some of the risks and challenges associated with Bitcoin? Well, because it's decentralized, there is no central authority that can fix problems or correct errors. For example, if you lose your digital wallet password, your Bitcoins are gone forever. Another risk is that hackers target exchanges where people buy and sell Bitcoin. In 2017, for example, a hacker stole $50 million worth of Bitcoin from the NiceHash exchange. So what does the future hold for Bitcoin? Well, it's hard to say. Some people believe that it's the future of money, while others think it will eventually go away. Only time will tell what happens. Now here's the big question. How much will Bitcoin be worth in 10 years? Well, it's impossible to say for sure, but we can look at some estimates. In 2017, one Bitcoin was worth almost $20,000. At the time, Bloomberg reported that one Bitcoin could be worth between $100,000 and $1 million in 10 years. One of the authors of the report said that the worst case for Bitcoin is that it goes to zero. The most likely outcome is that it ends up being worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. A more recent report by Fundstrat Global in 2021 raised their Bitcoin price targets for 2022 and beyond. Now they are saying that a Bitcoin could be worth $100,000 by 2022 or 2023. By comparison, the price of Bitcoin today is around $46,000. So it really could go either way. It could go to zero or it could go much higher than even $100,000. Did you find this video helpful? Let us know in the comments. Check out this video next. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time. What is Bitcoin? How does it work? Why is it valuable? What are some of its use cases? What are the risks and challenges? And finally, what will the price be after 10 years? That's what we'll cover in this video. Hi, everyone. I'm an assistant professor of finance at a university. Bitcoin is a digital asset designed to act as a decentralized digital currency without a central bank or single administrator that can be sent from user to user on the peer-to-peer Bitcoin network without the need for intermediaries. So how does it work? The Bitcoin protocol is based on the concept of a distributed ledger called the blockchain. Think of the blockchain as a record book that keeps track of all Bitcoin transactions. When a transaction occurs, it gets broadcasted to the network, and then multiple computers on the network, also called miners, reach a consensus on the validity of the transaction. Once the transaction is validated, it gets added to a block of transactions and the block gets added to the blockchain. Each block is cryptographically secured to the previous block, making it extremely difficult to tamper with. This process of reaching a consensus and adding blocks to the blockchain is called mining. Miners are incentivized with Bitcoin as a reward for their computational power and electricity costs associated with running their computers. Transactions on the blockchain are public and anyone can view them, but they do not reveal any personally identifiable information about the users. Users maintain control over their funds by holding the private keys to their digital wallets. Bitcoin was the first digital asset of this type, but today there are many others such as Ethereum, Cardano, and several others. So why is it valuable? Bitcoin's value stems from its scarcity. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins, and as of recording this video in October 2021, about 85% of those have already been mined. Additionally, its value is derived from its utility as a store of value, a medium of exchange, and a unit of account. Many investors view Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and a way to diversify their portfolios. However, others argue that because it's not issued by a central bank or government, Bitcoin is too volatile to serve as a reliable store of value or unit of account. Despite the criticism, Bitcoin's value has skyrocketed in recent years from less than 10 cents in 2010 to nearly $70,000 in late 2021. What are some of its use cases? Well, Bitcoin can be used to purchase goods and services, although not as widely accepted as traditional currencies. Some businesses like Microsoft and Starbucks accept Bitcoin as payment, while others like Home Depot and Overstock allow customers to use it as a form of payment at their retail locations. In addition, many countries are exploring the possibility of launching their own central bank digital currencies. China has been testing a digital yuan, and several countries including Sweden, South Africa, and the Eastern Caribbean have launched or are piloting CBDCs. The main benefits of CBDCs are increased financial inclusion, lower transaction costs, and greater efficiency. However, there are concerns about privacy, security, and the potential for government overreach. What are the risks and challenges? Bitcoin has been plagued by several high-profile security breaches, including the 2016 Bitcoin Capital hack, which resulted in the theft of $64 million worth of Bitcoin. In addition, the environmental impact of mining has come under scrutiny as the process is highly energy-intensive. The carbon footprint of a single Bitcoin transaction is equivalent to the annual electricity consumption of an average U.S. household. Finally, the regulatory environment for cryptocurrencies is still evolving, and there are concerns about the potential for market manipulation and money laundering. What does the future hold for Bitcoin? Despite the risks and challenges, Bitcoin has grown in popularity, and several major companies including Tesla, MicroStrategy, and Mass Mutual have added Bitcoin to their corporate treasuries. In addition, the increasing mainstream acceptance of cryptocurrencies is evident in the growing number of publicly traded companies that hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets. As of November 2021, there were 136 publicly traded Bitcoin holders with direct exposure to Bitcoin of approximately $14 billion. Finally, let's address the million-dollar question. What will the price of Bitcoin be after 10 years? Unfortunately, no one can say for sure. Price predictions for any asset class tend to be unreliable, and Bitcoin is no exception. However, if we look at the price history, Bitcoin has shown an incredible growth rate since its inception. From less than 10 cents in 2010 to nearly $70,000 in late 2021. That's a staggering increase of more than 70 million%. If Bitcoin continues to grow at this rate, it could reach astronomical heights in the next decade. But it's important to remember that past performance is not indicative of future results and that Bitcoin is a highly volatile asset. So while it's fun to speculate about the price of Bitcoin in the next decade, it's important to keep in mind that anything could happen and that price predictions are just that, predictions. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos on investing and cryptocurrency. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.